So there's another podcast that I listen to. It's about engineering disasters called Well, There's Your Problem. If you listen to this, you might also listen to that because I shill this one in their Discord server a lot. And very recently, at time of recording, they were going to do an episode on a train crash that happened in France, and then they had to delay that because all the sources were in French. And according to one of the hosts on Twitter, she said specifically, no shit leaves the shop. And even on this slapshod ramble of a podcast, we sort of abide by that. We've definitely had to re-record a couple episodes because they haven't gone great, or we've apologized if there was bad audio or something like that. And generally we do our best to make it really nice for the listeners. And if you go back and look at season 1 on YouTube, you'll see what it's like when
or on any other platforms where you listen to your podcasts.
Well, no, I was going to say, if you look on YouTube, you'll see what it looks like when I have free time to do the video work for this. And all that has to say that if the people behind the creation of Taskmaster USA had abided by the adage of no shit leaves the shop, the finished product would be 21 minutes and 44 seconds of blank screen, because this shit is garbage. I'm so mad. It's so bad.
I know I interrupted you a bit, but I think I sort of just needed to make my presence known. But I think that still go down in history as probably our best introduction.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a long distance handshake. Congratulations, sir.
Yep, I'll take that. Hi everyone. This is Your Time Starts Now, a Taskmaster podcast. I'm Joe. He's Emerson.
And I'm Emerson. I am Emerson indeed. And today,
we're covering episode 1 of the only season.
We're recovering. We're covering and recovering.
Yes.
Shall that be our episode title?
I think
covering and recovering.
Yes, because this show that people worked on and probably millions of dollars were spent on in total is so bad and so just soul-suckingly terrible that I don't understand how it got made. I actually sent this to Emerson in our chat, that I would have canceled my cable subscription probably if I'd seen this, because it was so bad.
I told Joe that I was I'd started watching the show and I just said help in the chat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's just start off. This show has many problems. The first of which is the length. I'll get into this a bit more later on in the show. But
there's a lot. There's not just problems with the lengths of the episode. It's how they broadcast them as well, which will also go.
Oh, I don't even doubt that. But the biggest problem in my head is that the length, because each episode, as I said, is around 21 minutes. Plus 4 commercial breaks, which is because pay television in the U.S. is cancer. And that's why nobody watches it anymore.
I think that might be the only statement that could probably get us cancelled on this podcast. And we have said some fucked up shit.
I don't care. It is bad. I mean, like, I don't watch TV anymore. Like, on our television at home, I can think the 5 channels we watch is Turner Classic Movies, Fox News, CNN, CNBC, and BBC America. BBC North America, like the World News Channel. And that's it. And we have like 1,000 channels. Because it's just all dreck.
We're not going to do... We have decided that just to keep these episodes short, because honestly, we don't want to take up your time with this show. We're not going to go into too much banter.
This show deserves no effort. No, I considered it too much effort that I had to Google who the contestants were.
I mean, I knew who one of them was, and
That's more than I knew.
I knew Freddie Highmore. So
Yeah.
I don't care about
Which,
spoilers.
yeah,
Freddie
which
Highmore is one of the contestants, and if you recognize him, he was he was Charlie in the 2005 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory film,
yeah, let me just let that sink in,
which
everyone. The
also
high
starred
point of,
everyone's. Just want to say the 2005 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Everyone also starred everyone's current favorite guy, Johnny Depp.
yes, he did. Current event thing, he just won his defamation lawsuit against ex-wife Amber Heard.
Big up, Johnny.
Also, just wanna say this. When the high point of the cast list is a guy whose biggest role was as a child star in 2005, you know that this show is going to suck.
Oh no. The thing that makes American Taskmaster suck. I can personally say that out of the 2 episodes we've seen, because just for the content for context sake,
Continuity.
we're going to be recording we're going to be recording our thoughts on episodes 1 and 2 at the same time. Episode 1 will come out on Thursday the 9th, and episode 2 will come out on the Sunday, which is the 13th, I think.
Let me check.
Or is
It
it the
doesn't matter,
12th?
but
Oh
it's
no,
the
it's the
12th.
Thursday
It's
the
the
12th
12th.
and Thursday the 9th,
No,
Sunday the 12th, yeah.
yeah,
But
it
anyway,
doesn't
this
matter.
when the best part of this American remake of Taskmaster, aside from Alex, because obviously how can you not love Alex, is Freddie Highmore, a British actor.
Although I will say, credit where credit's due, Ron Funches tried.
Oh yeah,
Ron
he did.
Funches, Ron Funches, whose main claim to fame is that he's a stand-up comic that no one's ever heard of, and a writer on the Eric Andre show, tried, which I'll give him that. The Eric Andre show is consistently one of the most insane and funny things on television. But
I know of
again,
Eric Andre, but
the
we've
Eric
had.
Andre show is really good if you like surreal comedy.
I just want to say we said we'd give the show no effort, but we've already had nearly 7.5 minutes of banter.
This is not banter. This is discussion of the show. We
Oh,
haven't
fair
said
enough.
one word about what we did in the 2 months since we last recorded, which for
No.
me,
We'll save
fortunately,
that
was
for the
fucking nothing.
We'll save that for the Series 6 premiere, or probably our bonus, because I know we'll keep delaying the Series 6 premiere, but I wanted to do a bonus episode where we just ranked the 25 contestants from the first 5 seasons of the UK version,
Yeah.
which
So
I think would be fun. It'll probably be it'll be a very minimal effort thing, so
yeah,
it'll just be an easy thing to whack out.
but
Um,
yeah, on to this episode that
can I talk
already
about
has.
how they structured how they introduced the title sequence?
Yeah, and that just
I want to. Sorry, I'll
I
let you say
liked
first.
what. It's really weird because this show actually has some good moments in it. The title sequence in the first episode specifically, among them. Nothing else, but it's all tainted, and because of just how terrible this show is.
I want to say
And
why I didn't like the. I'm going to say why I. This is going to be weird because we're starting out of a disagreement, but I'm going to say why I didn't like how they formatted the title sequence. So it's. I guess you could say it's a bit of a cold opener. Could you say that?
yeah, it's a cold open plus an obvious way that they wanted to reduce the running time because this is the first episode of the first season of the show. No one who's watching this is going to know what UK Taskmaster is because this is 2017. So so they have to
2018.
20. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Uh,
it doesn't matter.
but when they have to introduce the show like Greg Davies did at the first episode of season 1 of UK Taskmaster, and kind of does every first season after that. And they did it. Do you want to tell how they did it in this?
So what they do is they start with the overhead shot of the audience, and you can see the stage with the 5 contestants, Taskmaster and Taskmaster's assistant.
Which it's a really
And
good stage, by the way. It's a shame that the show sucks.
yeah, so Reggie Watts introduces the show. He says, "Hi, I'm Reggie Watts. Welcome to Taskmaster. What is Taskmaster?" And then you hear the first "doo," of the Taskmaster theme song before showing him the iconic shot of the Taskmaster at the typewriter. And then they do what the UK version does. They have a montage of clips from the upcoming season, some of the
with the
funniest
theme
moments.
playing.
And the biggest difference is Reggie is describing the show over the theme song. He says, "A bunch of comedians have gone to our Taskmaster house, and they've spent God knows how long doing tasks." He says that
Doing tasking tasks.
tasking tasks.
Someone thought that was good writing, and they're wrong.
I'll explain why I didn't like this. The Reggie talking over I'll call it the trailer because a little bit before each episode is a teaser of what's to come in the season. Reggie talking over the trailer defeats the purpose of the trailer. It's a visual collection of what to expect. But because we're listening to Reggie, we're distracted by his voice and not really focusing on what's on the screen, so we don't really know what to expect. Well, we get an idea of it, but it's not showing, it's telling.
Now, can I offer a counterpoint to that, which is that for the first episode, like episode 1-1, which is first season, first episode, this is actually not bad. Because they have to explain it, they have to say what it is, and they have to do it within the 20-minute time slot that they have, plus 10 minutes for commercials. So putting the voiceover over the opening credits for the first episode only is actually a really all right idea. The problem is that
emphasis on all right.
The problem is that, and here's the emphasis, is that they don't do this for just the first episode. Because I turned on the next episode and they did it again. Which means that some fucking nutcase at Comedy Central, who was presumably aware of how Taskmaster is structured in the UK, decided that this was going to be a good idea to do this again and again. And I'm just fucking mad about it.
Also, I should just stress, I wasn't, for all like complication reasons and me not having like an American TV provider, I was only able to watch the first episode on the Comedy Central website. After about maybe 20 minutes of searching, I was able to find all 8 episodes pirated on a website. Now that's subject to change because I only know that the first 2 work from that website. But I have found a source to watch the show. Now, whether that source will still be there when we come to record episode 7 and 8, or even 3 and 4, which we'll be doing hopefully next week, is a whole other story. I might have to ask Joe to screen record it and send it to me.
Yeah, we can do that. Honestly, I think they're probably kicking around in someone. I'm certain that someone in some subreddit somewhere will have the actual, like, a link to a Google Drive or a Mega file that's got it. If you are that person or you know someone else like this, please help us not give any money to Comedy Central, and please help Emerson watch this by any means of pirating ever. At email us at YTS.
I'm not watching it because I want to. I'm watching it because I have to.
I would pirate it if I knew it was this bad. I use my parents' cable subscription and I logged into this, and it's not worth it. We don't even pay for this, technically. This is just like a bonus for having a cable subscription.
I know we don't really want to, but shall we move on?
I mean, yes, let's just continue on going.
All right.
By the way, we're about 14 minutes into this episode, and ordinarily we'd be making the joke that we're not even through the prize task or something like that. But in 14 minutes of this episode, we are 3/4, if not more, of the way through the entire running length of a Taskmaster USA episode. This show is short and still manages to suck.
It's short but not sweet. I'll tell you that.
It's short but fucking awful. Anyways, here's our contestants. Which I'm just gonna. Do you want me to do this?
Go on then. I feel like an arse if I take over, but yeah, I'll do the prize task. I mean, not that there's. I mean, there's not much. I mean, actually, there is a lot to talk about with the prize task, just not the item itself.
Yeah. So
Anyway, yeah.
they want to have some funny joke at the beginning of each episode because again I watched episode 2 as well where they like give everyone a funny title. So this one everyone has the word international in front of their title. So we've got Dylan Francis, international DJ. Freddie Highmore, international actor. That's the only one where this is true, by the way. Um, Kate Berlant, international comic. Lisa Lampanelli, international queen of mean. And Ron Funches, international man of mystery. Now, if I could just translate this out of TV bullshit, Dylan Francis is a DJ I've never heard of who specializes in something stupid called Mumbacore. Freddie Highmore's high point in life was playing Charlie in the Chocolate Factory in 2005. Kate Berlant is someone I don't know about and doesn't even have a picture on her Wikipedia page. Lisa Lampanelli is a bitch who plays insult comedy mostly and is actually now a retired former comic who's decided to become a life coach. Finally, we have Ron
That sounds like
Funches,
the perfect
who's a
job for someone
dude
like that.
who's just a dude. Like he does comedy, but he's just a dude. And these are a man of mystery because he really does not have any career high points to speak of.
The biggest problem with this cast is that they either have no personality or a very unpleasant personality.
Or they're trying to affect an unpleasant personality because this is the interesting thing. It's both Kate Berlant and Lisa Lampanelli seem to be going for the shtick of being a, and I really want to stress that I'm putting this in air quotes, nasty woman, which is sort of what was in vogue in like 2018 ish amongst comedians. And the problem is that they're not coming off as funny. They're
Yeah,
coming off as mean.
like Kate makes a comment about, we'll get to it, but Kate makes a really unnecessary comment after one of the tasks about uh, her disqualification leading to the fact that she's a woman, which is
Yeah,
like, no,
and actually
no.
we're going to talk about this next episode, but so you'll hear this in a couple of days, but I'm going to tell Emerson about this in like half an hour. And there's a
If
bit
we
in season 2 where episode 2, where I just, instantly despise Kate because of it. And then Lisa's this really weird thing because you can see hints of like a normal fucking personality coming through. And then, but in the meantime, she's just calling Alex a cunt every other minute or
Whoa,
like being just actively shitty to him.
that's harsh language even for this podcast, but yeah.
It's blurred out, but you know what it is. It's bleeped out, but
Oh,
she's not saying any other
the
word.
the
This is
censorship
like
is really inconsistent.
welcome to American television.
So let's very quickly talk about Reggie Watts' Taskmaster.
Do we have to?
Basic. Reggie has no personality whatsoever,
Nope. No, he doesn't. His whole
and
comedic
it's
shtick
so
is oh
it's so obvious that Alex is backseat driving with this
yeah.
show.
Actually, if I can point something out that sort of gives an indication as to how like minimal the role of the Taskmaster is in this, in every commercial on the UK version, uh, it's always Alex in his role as the Taskmaster's assistant doing something like holding up one finger to say it's the first commercial break. You know what it is. In this, Reggie is in most of them too, which I know it's really subtle, but including the reason why Greg Davies is never in the commercial breaks or is in very few of them is that the Taskmaster is supposed to be this like imposing ominous person whom capriciously and maliciously issues vague edicts and then judges you severely for them. Reggie's just some dude. Reggie's there. Reggie doesn't give off any indication of actually being interested in what's going on. Like it almost feels like he's a little high during most of this. Like he's got that disinterested, sort of stoner thing going on, which again might be his comedic shtick because I had to Google who he was, He's the band
I,
leader on James Corden's late night show. But
fucking
before
James
that,
Corden.
he was a
He's
stand-up
left his
comic
late
and
night show.
good. But he's a
Coming.
stand-up.
Apparently, he's coming back. Apparently, James
Oh,
Corden's coming back to the UK. Not sure how I feel about that.
good. You guys can keep him. But Reggie Watts, before he
He
did
was
James
never
Corden,
yours, and I don't mean that as a compliment.
yeah. But before he did James Corden, Reggie Watts apparently did surrealist stand-up where he would keep the audience off balance at all times. And I can't help but think that maybe this is what he was trying to do by being all aloof. Because this does not give off the aura of anyone who has watched Greg Davies for more than like 2 episodes. Like there's none of the like calculated cruelty or even just any cruelty from him. There's obviously a lot of cruelty from the cast, which I don't like. Also, just like to point out, we just passed the 21-minute mark. We are officially going for longer than the episode ran for.
Don't worry, I honestly don't think we'll be talking about this episode for very long.
No. Also,
And please don't make me, Joe.
No. We're not going to talk about it for very long because this episode sucks. Also, it's just blatantly rehashing the tasks from like season 1 and 2 of Taskmaster.
No creative bone. There is no creative bone in its body.
Nope, not at all. Even Alex introduces himself for the first time as a former child, which is a direct copy of a joke he made, I think, in season 2.
And he says, I can't. It's hard for me to not talk about episode 2 because we both watched it in preparation for this joint recording. But he does. He makes the I've got 2 boys and a boy comment.
Yeah, which is
which he's
another
made
repeated
several
joke.
times. Yeah. Now let's finally talk about this.
Very quickly, there is unfortunately a count for the Hawaiian shirt count. If you look very carefully at Ron's shoes, they are a flowery pattern because they're like Converses, so they can print those.
It's called
there.
the Hawaiian shirt count, not the Hawaiian shoes count.
I have Hawaiian shoes, Hawaiian print shoes. Yes, it counts. I have 4 pair.
I can't wait to see you turn up on Taskmaster in your Hawaiian floral shirt.
Listen, you've seen pictures of me. You know how I dress. Anyways, on to the prize.
Okay, well, to call this a prize task would be an insult.
I didn't say task. I just said prize.
The prize, yeah. Now, let me briefly explain the importance of the prize task in Taskmaster. The prize task is so important because not only does it give stakes for the episode, but for everyone, because everyone is supposed to bring in a prize for the prize task. And not only that, not only does it add stakes, it gets anyone to understand their characters on the show better. So, like, if you rewatch the very first episode of Taskmaster where they have to bring in the most unusual item, you get to know things like Ramesh has a love-hate relationship with his kids. Greg hates Ramesh. Tim Key is very blunt, but simultaneously victorious. Roisin is a babbling mess. Josh is Josh likes to overimagine, I think, and Frank is this weird old guy. You learn all that from the prize task. Okay? The thing with with this prize task, in air quotation quotes, for both of these episodes, one member of the cast has brought in one thing.
They do this for every episode. Actually,
I assume they do.
I've been led to believe the last episode because they have run out of stuff to give from people, so they just put some show memorabilia up there.
Oh God. I'm sorry. It genuinely annoys me.
It is bad because not only do we not learn anything about the contestants, but we don't understand why it's valuable or important.
We don't even really learn much about, because it's Dylan who brings in the prize. We don't even learn much about Dylan from this. So what he's brought in,
he is a DJ.
So what he's brought in is his laptop, and obviously the logo is covered with all these stickers.
It's a MacBook. He's a DJ.
Yes, but You know what Taskmaster's like? They don't really like to
No,
show off
no, it's
logos
U.S.
too much.
television. It's even worse. It's
So
actually
there is a, even though it's censored, there's a very obvious there's a sticker that says very obviously "fuck racism," which Ron approves of quite highly, and there's several stickers with the acronym IDGAFOS, which I learned stands for "I don't give a fuck or shit," which is apparently one of Dylan's songs. So he's this laptop is basically him promoting himself on
Well,
the
this
show.
laptop, according to him, is also his work laptop that he actually like makes his songs and stuff on, which again, I can't stress this enough. Why on God's green earth would you give away something that important if you weren't prepared to lose it? I don't understand it because again, see episode 2, we'll talk about this more. Ordinarily I would just think that it's actors being stupid, but there is actually a very real chance that the whatever is going on here was misrepresented to them by the production staff.
I
And so they were told bring in something to show off, and it's like, oops, no, this is getting taken away from you.
I actually had my notes ready to because they went from left to and they went from left to right, but I didn't. I don't think it would have mattered which order they went. But I had because Freddie sat next to Dylan. I assumed he was going to go next, so I actually had his name written down in my notes. So in my notes, I have Freddie dash what no one else what one question mark no one else brings in a prize two question marks what is this shithousery three question marks.
I I get all the task like a direct text to the task from taskmaster.info. So I actually had to scroll through the prize test and I was like, oh, that's right. Because I think I Googled this show once before and I knew that. It's this show feels like what would happen if you took an episode of Taskmaster and edited it down like they do I'm gonna make a really deep
A
reference.
reality TV
Like
show.
no, like one of those Japanese game shows where they redub all the audio and then they
Like
air it. Like
Takeshi's Castle.
yeah, or Most Extreme Elimination, which is what I think Takeshi's Castle was sold as in the United States, which was basically they kept the footage, dubbed voices over it, and cut it appropriately. It's
Um,
it in the case of MXC, it was really funny. This is not.
shall we, for the love of God, talk about the first
Uh,
task?
yeah, sure. Do you want me to take it?
Do you want to?
Sure. Whatever gets us done faster.
Go on
Um,
then.
okay,
So
so
we're nearly 20
intro to
minutes in, but yeah.
intro to the Taskmaster house. It's a mansion in Greater Los Angeles. Do I care where it is? No, not really. Important things to note. It's got a swimming pool and a hot tub. Okay, that's it.
It's a
So
very
the task is
stereotypical LA like celebrity
it's
house kind of
actually a
thing.
really nice house, and I wish I cared more. Task one. This is from whichever season had Nish Kumar in it. The most recent one, I think.
Seen in season 5, episode 1.
Yes, get the basketball through the basketball hoop. You may not touch the basketball with your hands. You may not wear gloves or anything that could be reasonably construed to be gloves. Only difference between
Sorry.
this one and the one in season 5 is actually, and this is again why I'm a little annoyed about this. This one is slightly better than the season 5 because the basketball hoop is sitting in the swimming pool.
That
Like
was a nice
four
touch.
feet,
That added some
4 feet
stakes.
away in like 3 feet of water. So you have to figure out a way to get it out of the pool when you inevitably miss. And
That was a nice
I'm
touch.
really, it was, and I'm really mad that this dog shit version of the show is the one that did it. But so we see Dylan and Ron go first, which I would also like to point out. In this 2 episodes, I don't think, or there's only just one uh, there is only one task in both episodes that we've watched so far that had every single contestant shown individually. Everything else is people grouped together, even if they didn't need to be, because because they just didn't have time, or they and so they just edited together everything terribly. I bet if this were a full hour long show, you could actually go through all the footage and edit together something that's at least presentable. But because this is, keep in mind, we are now longer than the episode would be with commercials. If so, it was so badly edited down that we just all the funny was removed. And like so for the first one, we get Dylan and Ron. They use buckets and
Ron
rakes and a
starts by like
shovel,
sandwiching it between his forearms and throwing it, which is
and
actually
almost gets it.
that wasn't a bad
It's smart.
strategy. I thought
It's not.
that
It
was
would
not
have
a
been
bad
better.
strategy.
That would have been a great one if it had been
Mm,
on the ground
mm.
and he could walk up to it, but he couldn't, which is really
Yeah,
cool.
they
Every
both go to
him
the.
and Dylan, they go into the shed, which again, trying to keep a bit of original Taskmaster, they built a shed in a back courtyard of the house next to all the rooms they could have just turned into the shed.
Oh, I should just
And
say I
it
did. I know this is not a compliment to anyone. Well, it's a compliment to the gardener, but I did like how they shaped the grass by the shed in the shape of a guitar.
no, I didn't even notice that.
It
Uh,
it, it, it was just a funny little thing. It's not really worth it.
yeah,
And they
it's nothing in
sensed.
the show is worth it.
I mean, they censored the word "fuck" and not "shit." Although to
Yeah.
be fair,
Well,
the word "fuck" is more harsh than the word "shit."
yeah, FCC profanity guidelines are really weird. Fuck is seen as like the end all be all curse word because sex is like taboo because everyone in the government is a Puritan. But anyways, Ron uses I think a rake
Sorry, my phone
and
was being weird again.
then I think Dylan uses a shovel, and they both have buckets. And Ron gets a flower pot at one point, and they just use those as a holder for the ball, and they throw it in, and then eventually they get it in. And as an instance of what I'm talking about here, Dylan took 2 minutes 11 seconds. Ron took 8 minutes.
Fucking hell.
There's a whole, and both tasks were put together. There's like 8 minutes of content of Ron Funches trying and failing that could be funny. I don't know, but we don't
This is
know.
what I think. This is what I think the purpose of something like Taskmaster Supermax Plus should be. First of all, make it cheaper, but show unedited, full director's cuts of all the episodes
I think the
for
Taskmaster
all of them.
Supermax Plus, which I have already stated my sincere dislike about, if Taskmaster Supermax Plus does succeed, which I hope it doesn't, because and I've said why already, Taskmaster USA needs to be offered for free because no one should ever have to pay for this.
I don't. Obviously, I don't like
They should
Supermax
pay
Plus
you to
either.
watch it.
I obviously yes, I don't like Supermax Plus either. But if you're going to set up a Taskmaster streaming service, put up brand new, very, very, very difficult, maybe even never seen before Taskmaster related content.
Yeah,
That's
which they won't. But anyways, onwards next to Lisa and Freddie. So
I
again,
don't like Lisa. I think she's genuinely
oh
just
no,
she's not only a bad contestant, but she's not. I was gonna say call her a bad person, but that's not fair.
oh
She's
she
just
is
annoying
probably.
and not. She
Yeah,
first of
you
all,
just
she's
don't
not.
get a.
She's not even the real Queen of Mean. That's Anne Robinson from The Weakest Link.
You don't even get a sense of. Okay, so let me just to put this to bed. Lisa Lampanelli thinks that it's funny to swear every other word and call people cunts. And it
And
is
tell them to
funny.
suck and tells Alex to suck her dick.
I thought that was I thought she told him to suck something else, but it doesn't matter. Uh does not matter because Lisa Lampanelli thinks this is comedy. And unfortunately, it can be comedy if you're a good comedian. Lisa Lampanelli isn't funny. She's not a good comedian. At no point during any of this did I think she was funny. I thought she was rude. This is again something I've said before where UK comedy would be funny is funny because for some reason the implicit cruelty works better with a British accent, but in North America you're just mean. Anyways, continuing on, Freddie Highmore tries to Nish Kumar the ball into the pool,
That's what I put in my note.
and it does
And
not.
he does the football kick, and I thought, I wrote
Yeah,
"Come on, Britain" in my notes. Like Freddie is hands down the best part of the show.
best. Yes, actually, this is one of the things I was saying. Is that what I was thinking is that every first episode of Taskmaster needs one of these, you know, lightning rod moments of, oh, this is what the show is about. Obviously, the unbeatable one is
The watermelon
Watermelon.
task. I think that might
Freddie,
be top 5 greatest tasks
yeah,
ever.
Freddie Highmore diving into the pool and pulling down the basketball hoop while fully clothed is possibly the greatest thing in this episode. And we see
I might say
15
it's the.
seconds of it.
It'll probably be the
And
greatest thing of the series as well.
yeah, we
Taskmaster
see
use it.
we see 15 seconds of this before it's cut back to Lisa Lampanelli angrily swearing at Alex while she tries to get it in. It's so badly edited, I want to scream. But anyways,
That was
for what it matters,
most entertaining moment of the show, without doubt.
so far, yeah. Freddie, 25 attempts, 6 minutes 43 seconds. Lisa took 14 minutes and 20 seconds. Again, was there comedy in there? It's Lisa Lampanelli, probably not, but who knows? And then we get an actual Nish Kumar moment. Kate has been shown separately from everybody else. She found a pair of crutches and like a shield in the shed. She used the shield to get the ball onto the crutches and then flicks it in one try. Then they do the whole, wait a minute, we've noticed you touched it with your hand for a moment, and they roll it back, and the ball fell off the crutches, and Lisa and Kate went out and caught it with her hand and put it back on the crutch. And then if this were Taskmaster UK, there would probably be a 5-minute back and forth debate over whether or not that counted, or there would be some other big thing, a Joe Wilkinson level moment, maybe. But instead we get Kate accusing Reggie of sexism, which you mentioned.
Not funny.
Then no debate, and then immediately moving on to I think a commercial break or just
the
on
thing
to
with
the next task.
The thing with obviously in the UK version of Taskmaster, there have been some call-outs to potentially sexist moments. Some things that come to mind is Catherine during the final task of Series 2, where she gets pissed that she has to do up a tie, or Ashling's comment about the coconut businessman. The tie one, I think, is quite funny because it's very obviously Alex not thinking it through. And it's just portrayed as a more funny, lighthearted thing. The coconut one, me and Joe both have issues with, but honestly, it comes from an understandable place. This just came out of nowhere. It was too left field. There was no intention. That was very obviously not the intention of Alex. Obviously, it's never been his intention, but it's a parallel that you cannot draw unless you're desperately trying to make a petty, woke Me Too audience laugh. Oh God, did I just say that?
Yeah, you did. And I'm going to be real with you. That is about what 2018 America is like. So it's actually not wrong in any way. It's not even surprising to me. It's like, and of course people are going to hopefully nobody yells at us over this, but it's like, it's just, yeah.
I mean,
it's just a retort.
Yeah, I mean, I feel quite weird after saying that. Like, am I going to get cancelled for saying that?
I don't think so. Getting cancelled would imply there's anyone around to notice.
Yeah, but this is going up online.
I've seen our YouTube viewer stats. That doesn't mean anything.
That's the good thing about being so small. The ramifications. There are basically no ramifications if you get cancelled.
Yeah, and if someone does cancel us, that presumes that they've actually watched it. Hi, new viewer.
Hello. Anyway, my turn to do.
Yeah.
Actually, the scores first. It's a very.
Oh yeah, they don't even get points for putting a prize in. I'd forgot that.
Oh yeah, this is the first time we're seeing the scores this episode, and honestly, I think because the scores are so. Forget it. I was just going to say because we don't get the full clean slate of scores, 1 to 5 points. It might not have made the best first task, but Dylan gets 5, Freddie 4, Ron 3, Lisa 2, and Kate is DQ'd.
Yeah. And
for
then
picking up
we're
the
on
ball.
to the second task, which I would like to tell the audience.
Second task of
There,
3.
yeah, there are only 2 pre-recorded tasks in this episode. I really don't like it.
What do you want to tell the audience? Oh, was that what you wanted to tell
Oh,
the audience?
yeah, I don't there's only 2 fucking tasks.
Okay, so second task, it's another one we've seen before. Do something backwards that will look impressive when the footage is reversed. Now, this is the infamous task that was seen in Season 1, Episode 2 of the UK version, which gave us such gems as Tree Wizard. Tree
Yes.
Wizard! Back from the
Ugh.
dead to create some balloons. Which Joe still hates, I assume.
Yeah, I don't I mean I hate it less than this, but yeah, and then actually I was the whole time I was watching this, I was thinking of actually Roisin Conadi's task where she spits the water out of her mouth backwards.
Yeah,
But
that's part of the same task.
yeah, I know that's just the one I think of. But speaking of Tree Wizard, the task is delivered by balloons, and the Tree Wizard obviously did not inflate Lisa Lampanelli's balloons because they just thud to the ground completely uninflated, except for one. Maybe
God,
she
I don't
pissed
know
off
why.
the prop department.
Yeah. Lisa's so mean that she hates the sun. I've written in my notes. And
Yep.
I was also Ron made some reference to being high, so I thought they censor swear words but not drug use references.
Yeah, weed culture is basically normalized now.
Speaking of weed culture, Snoop Dogg had a role in a Freddie Highmore movie, like a main role.
Cool. I assume that it was Freddie Highmore had a small role in a Snoop movie more than the other way around.
He was apparently in some. Maybe he was in a Snoop Dogg music video back in the day, which,
Who
considering
knows?
the way Snoop Dogg, what
Let's
usually
get
appears in a Snoop Dogg music video, I've been very surprised. Anyway, Dylan is
let's get
shown
on with
first.
this.
Oh God, um, I'm just gonna. I'm probably gonna get this wrong, but I don't care. Dylan starts in a jacuzzi with a glass of wine. He then. This is in reverse, by the way. I'm just saying it as is. He then gets out and hits a croquet ball through a hoop, or backwards. Then gets into a swimming pool and does like a backwards doggy paddle. And then he gets out and then he's hula hooping. And that's the end of the
Well, actually,
thing.
he swam forward when the footage was reversed, so presumably he had to swim backwards before. But yeah, it's a very subtle thing. Reggie didn't really like it. I actually kind of thought it was cool.
I
But
couldn't. Like, I just don't give a shit.
oh
I'm
yeah, by the
amazed
way,
at
we're
how
not
little I
doing
actually.
we're
I'm
not doing
amazed at how little I
Taskmaster
actually
Joe for
care.
this because I hate this show. I don't want to
Yeah,
devote thought to it.
it's not. I'm not gonna. So
Um,
that's the thing. Ron just does a really, really, really shit knockoff Tree Wizard.
it's yeah, he's holding a balloon. He jumps up, and then there's an obvious green screen line around his feet as he's continuously lifted into the air.
That's kind of cheating.
It
Because
it
like
it,
the,
it is, but honestly, the way that Reggie goes after this, I'm really mad about because Reggie gives him comments on the physics don't work, as if you can't
that's the
see the
title
green
drop for the
screen.
episode, by the way. Oh, we
Yeah,
forgot to say the title of this episode is called Physics.
yeah, but Reggie
Not
seems
that
to
the
find
titles mean anything.
no, they don't. Reggie seems to find significant fault in the physics, as if you can't see the green screen carpet puddled around Ron's feet at the bottom of the shot, and it's like, okay, that's what you have issue with. Sure,
Okay.
I'm fine with that. Kill
And then we
me.
go on to Kate, who basically, not completely identical, but basically the exact same premise as Josh Widdicombe, because
But
Josh
worse.
was but worse and not as funny.
Mm.
And also, I should say on this, to use Greg's words, light entertainment show, there was an impeach Trump message on a bin.
Yeah. So she just to sort of do it, she has a tow strap that's wrapped around the tow hitch of a Toyota Tundra pickup truck. She's walking towards the garbage can. She pulls the lid off. A banner that says "Impeach Trump" falls out. That's it.
Yes.
It's
Honestly, it's just
we're not going to get political in this, but it's just Again,
It
this
really
is
dates it.
America
It
in
really dates
this is
it.
America in 2018 for all that it entails.
Yeah. And honestly, it just dates this
And
show.
Reggie, of course, only finds fault in the fact that there's a lot of slack in the tow cable, which I
Yeah.
don't. That's sure, whatever. Then there's an ad break. This is the second ad break in like 15 minutes of TV show.
Oh, but this is how if a show a show that's about this long, so like a 22-minute show, would ideally maybe have one ad break. There are three ad breaks in this thing.
Yeah, this is what U.S. television is like. This is why the industry is dying. But anyways, then we go on to Lisa.
Lisa, I'm going to describe this as if it's being played. Not just describe it. That is, Lisa basically puts her hand towards Alex's mouth and brings out food. I'm describing as is
Bacon,
because I know it's been
badly
reversed.
burnt
Bacon,
bacon.
yeah, bacon. Basically, she puts together some components of a fry up breakfast. Although you have the more streaky bacon than the rashers of bacon. I don't know if she
Yeah,
was going for the full English breakfast,
no, it was
which
bacon and eggs by themselves is a standard breakfast. We don't do a full English.
or even like an American equivalent. Doesn't isn't like an
No, no,
American
that
breakfast have like mounds of waffles on them?
I mean, eggs and bacon by themselves is a perfectly acceptable breakfast.
True. I mean, I don't eat meat, but I
That's no, no, no.
yeah
I mean, no, no. Like that's a traditionally like
yeah.
in a
I was
film.
just I
That's
was
what
just
you
saying
would
about me.
show.
We're 46 minutes in. We should
Yeah, just
yeah,
okay.
and
Then
then
the bacon was really
basically
burnt. She does an evil laugh at the end of it.
yeah, and basically she was just starving Alex of food by taking it out of his mouth, and yeah. Uh, this isn't
Then she
funny.
was really,
Her,
really needlessly rude to Alex in the studio section.
like me and a because the thing is it's so difficult to soundbite this show because I can't just download episodes
Don't
easily off of
don't
YouTube.
bother. It's not worth it.
Exactly. We had a conversation about soundbites, and he was just like Joe's just like pirate the soundbites, and now he's just like no, it's not worth it.
It's not
Um,
worth it. Doesn't matter. Don't watch it. Be
um,
productive. Go to work.
Freddy. Now, Freddy's is like it's simple. It's kind of charming. Basically, a very dirty Alex comes up to Freddy, and Freddy just basically in reverse cleans him down. So Alex starts the shot
Yeah.
covered in mud, and he leaves perfectly new.
And then they
And
pan down to a sign that says Freddy's Fast Clean Service.
yeah, and that was really it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that one was good. I
Yeah, it was.
just because of being in association with everyone else, I felt like it was more mean spirited, but it probably isn't in a vacuum. In my notes, I said what he unslathers Alex with what I hope is mud.
I mean, they did show horse shit in the next show, so
Yeah,
I
so
wouldn't
that's what
put
I
it
was like
past them.
saying. Like, I hope it's mud because that's the level this show would go to.
Okay. So the scores we have Kate for some fucked up reason gets 5, Freddie gets 4, Lisa 3, Ron 2, and Dylan 1.
Yeah,
Which
they're
means the
just
scores at this point: Freddie is on 8 points, Dylan's on 6, and the other 3 are in joint third on 5. And now it's time for the live task. And oh god,
which
there's nothing to
this is
not really anything to say about this.
that's not a bad thing. This is a direct copy of the live task from
Pop up a
season
tent,
1.
pop up a tent, pop in your
Get in
tent,
the tent.
unzip your tent, zip up your tent, open your backpack, pop on your onesie, pop out of the tent. See, the very first live task
Yeah.
ever in Taskmaster UK.
And it was and so I'll admit this was really funny because everyone these pop-up tents are not really that common unless you're really into camping, which I don't think any of these people are. So they're like nobody knew how to put on a onesie. It was really interesting. Everybody opens the tent, just gets under the tent instead of going in through the zipper, and then of it the only like even remotely humorous thing is Ron Funches getting stuck in his onesie in the tent because he didn't know he had to
Hmm.
take his shoes off. Uh,
Yeah. I mean,
and
Kate was wearing
this,
like heels, and she was still able to get hers on.
well, yeah, but the problem is that this task went over in like a minute and a half in the show. I have the feeling that it took like 10 minutes IRL,
Oh
and
god, I
it was
don't.
just cut down to like a ridiculously abbreviated form.
Very quickly before we, the onesie's very quick. Dylan's in a US flag onesie. Freddy's in what I think is a dinosaur. Kate is dressed as Santa. Lisa is a unicorn, and Ron is a shark. And then they have a third fucking ad
Which,
break when there's
oh
like
yeah, which
2 minutes left of the show.
Which also, as a joke, as a note, the only other thing that Ron Funches has really done, he is the voice of King Shark in the Harley Quinn animated show
Oh,
on
is that the
HBO
joke
Max.
then?
I don't think it is because this came out before that show was made. I think that's just a really cool coincidence.
Probably, yeah. It would have been
But
a very it would have been very even funnier if this had happened after that. Anyway, the
yeah,
final scores: Dylan was first out, so he gets 5. Then it was Freddie. Lisa came out third. Kate came out fourth, and Ron came out last. Which means that despite not winning a single task, Freddie Highmore wins the episode on 12 points. Dylan in second with 11. The other scores don't really matter. But anyway, Freddie can now go and do whatever the fuck he likes
when
with Ron's laptop.
with Dylan's laptop.
Dylan's laptop.
And
Sorry.
then after this, we have what is, I think, possibly the most unconscionable part of this show. Did your pirated episode have the credits?
Probably. I can't really remember.
Oh, my poor thing. You don't know this then. There is, at the end of every episode of Taskmaster USA, a continuity announcer giving an up next narration for the
Oh,
next episode of the show. Will Freddy be able to hold on to his lead? I
and
almost punched.
the next
Yeah,
episode airs
like,
immediately after this.
no, it's like, or next week, I think they said. Like, like it's a legitimate recorded up next promo, and I almost strangled somebody because it is not.
Worth
Why
it.
is it there? Why are they trying to make it a dramatic thing? This is a game show. Who gives a shit? Why are you doing this to me?
Now, this is the end of our first episode, but this is where
Yeah.
my biggest problem with Taskmaster USA comes in. They air 2 episodes back to back on a single day, both of which are like in the 21-minute range. They're not combined together. Why? Why do they do that?
Syndication, that's why. So you can sell this episode on to other channels, and you can air it at like 3 o'clock in the morning in a half-hour time slot. Someone in a suit at an office at
Well,
Viacom
that just goes to show how much
looked at
confidence
their
they had in the show.
looked at their papers and said, "We can. This will make us more money as a half-hour show, even though it's not going because they're too dumb to realize that it wouldn't work like that." Honestly, I'm actually holding Alex Horn a little bit to blame for this because he could have walked at any moment and the show probably would have fallen apart. But he just sat here and let this happen, and I'm really kind of mad about it.
Don't hate Alex too much. He's my
I'm not
sweet.
hating just for this. Everybody makes a mistake, but let's not beat around the bush. This show is a mistake that never should have aired, and it's all for the worse on the brand of Taskmaster that we had to watch this.
Now, we could have just ended our entire discussion there because basically, once you've seen one episode of this show, you've probably seen them all. But no, we have 7 more episodes of this, and we're about to record episode 2 right now. But
Yeah,
we'll see you on Sunday. So,
kill me. I'm out of beer.
goodbye. I've been Emerson.
I've been increasingly angry. Bye.
Bye.